1. The Haunting of Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Waverly Hills Sanatorium, perched on a hill in Louisville, Kentucky, is often regarded as one of the most haunted places in the United States. Its history is steeped in tragedy and suffering, making it a magnet for tales of the paranormal. Originally opened in 1910 as a tuberculosis hospital, Waverly Hills witnessed the deaths of thousands of patients. With limited medical knowledge at the time, treatments were often experimental and brutal, leading to many untimely and painful deaths. Over the years, stories of mistreatment, mysterious deaths, and eerie occurrences have solidified Waverly Hills' reputation as a place where the past refuses to rest. Among the many artifacts discovered within the crumbling walls of Waverly Hills, a hidden diary provided a chilling glimpse into the life of one patient, Rachel. This diary, found beneath the floorboards of one of the hospital's abandoned rooms, painted a harrowing picture of her time at the sanatorium. Rachel described her daily experiences, which were marred by strange voices, shadowy figures, and an overwhelming sensation of being watched. Her words brought to life the horrors she faced, making it clear that the terror at Waverly Hills was not confined to the physical realm. Rachel's diary began with her arrival at Waverly Hills, where she was admitted for tuberculosis treatment. She described her first impression of the grand yet foreboding structure, its imposing facade looming against the sky, casting long shadows that seemed to swallow any hope. The soundscape of the hospital was a constant echo of coughs and cries, an unsettling symphony that filled the air and heightened her sense of dread. Encircled by dense woods, the hospital felt cut off from the world, an isolated fortress where the ill were sent to either recover or fade away. Rachel's initial steps through the doors were heavy with the knowledge that many who entered never saw the outside world again, a reality that settled over her like a suffocating blanket. Inside, Rachel recounted the cold, sterile corridors, each turn revealing another stretch of the seemingly endless maze of the hospital. The walls were lined with rooms that held patients in various stages of the disease, their gaunt faces and hollow eyes a testament to the relentless march of tuberculosis. Despite the efforts of the medical staff to project an air of care and competence, the underlying atmosphere was one of despair and resignation. Nurses moved briskly, their expressions often hidden behind masks of professional detachment. Yet their eyes betrayed the fatigue and hopelessness that came with witnessing so much suffering. The treatments, often experimental and harsh, added to the sense of being trapped in a place where hope was a rare commodity. Rachel's diary entries vividly captured the oppressive environment that pervaded Waverly Hills. She described the overwhelming sense of dread that settled over her from the moment she arrived, a feeling that only grew stronger with each passing day. The hospital's design, meant to be functional, instead felt like a labyrinth designed to confine and isolate. The large windows, meant to provide light and air, often only served to highlight the contrast between the vibrant life outside and the stagnant despair within. As she walked through the corridors, she couldn't escape the pervasive atmosphere of death and decay. Even the moments of brief respite, when patients shared quiet conversations or moments of dark humor, were overshadowed by the ever-present reality of the disease that ravaged their bodies and spirits. Rachel's narrative painted a picture of a place where the walls seemed to absorb the pain and fear of those within, creating an environment where the past was never truly past, and the future was uncertain at best. As the weeks passed, Rachel's entries began to detail experiences that grew increasingly unsettling and difficult to rationalize. The oppressive atmosphere of Waverly Hills seemed to seep into her very being, altering her perception of reality. She wrote about the nights that felt interminably long, filled with a sense of impending dread. Whispers, faint and unintelligible, seemed to emanate from the very walls, as though the building itself was speaking to her. These voices spoke in a language Rachel could not decipher, their tones imbued with a mixture of urgency and despair. The darkness of her room was often punctuated by fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures that moved at the periphery of her vision. These specters vanished whenever she turned to look directly at them, leaving her questioning her sanity and deepening her fear. One particularly harrowing night, Rachel was jolted awake by a profound sense of unease. As her eyes adjusted to the darkness, she saw a dark figure standing at the foot of her bed. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and an air of malevolence seemed to emanate from its presence. She screamed, a primal sound of terror that echoed through the silent corridors. Nurses rushed to her side, but by the time they arrived, the figure had vanished, leaving no trace behind. This encounter left Rachel with an overwhelming feeling of being watched, a sensation that persisted even in the presence of others. It was as if unseen eyes followed her every move, scrutinizing her with an intensity that made her skin crawl. This feeling of constant surveillance added to the psychological torment she was already enduring, exacerbating her sense of isolation and vulnerability. Rachel soon discovered that she was not alone in these experiences. Other patients, too, whispered about their own encounters with the supernatural. They spoke in hushed tones, fearful of drawing the attention of the entities that seemed to inhabit the sanatorium. Some described the same shadowy figures, while others recounted hearing disembodied voices or feeling an inexplicable chill that would suddenly engulf them. These shared experiences reinforced the growing belief among the patients that Waverly Hills was a place where the dead did not rest. The hospital's history of suffering and death seemed to have left an indelible mark, creating an environment where the past continuously bled into the present. Rachel's diary entries captured the collective fear and paranoia that gripped the patients, painting a picture of a place where the boundaries between the living and the dead were disturbingly blurred. Rachel's diary entries grew more desperate as her condition worsened. She wrote about the increasing sense of dread and the feeling that something malevolent lurked within the hospital. Her health declined rapidly, and with it, her mental state. The voices grew louder, the figures more frequent, and the sensation of being constantly observed became unbearable. In her final entries, Rachel expressed a profound sense of hopelessness, convinced that the hospital itself was a malevolent entity feeding off the suffering of its inhabitants. Her last entry was a chilling farewell, written with a shaky hand. To whoever finds this, know that we are not alone here. Something watches, something waits. Beware. The discovery of Rachel's diary added another layer of mystery to the already enigmatic Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Her first-hand accounts of paranormal phenomena, combined with the documented history of suffering and death, cemented the sanatorium's status as a hotspot for ghostly activity. To this day, visitors and paranormal investigators report strange occurrences, from unexplained cold spots to disembodied voices and shadowy apparitions. The story of Rachel and the countless others who suffered within its walls serves as a haunting reminder of the thin veil between the living and the dead. Waverly Hills remains a place where the past lingers, a testament to the enduring power of human suffering and the mysteries that lie beyond our understanding. 2. The Mystery of the Mary Celeste, a Journey Through Dimensions. The year was 1872, and the Atlantic Ocean, vast and mysterious, had just revealed one of its most puzzling secrets. The Mary Celeste, a brigantine sailing from New York to Genoa, was discovered adrift with no sign of its crew. The ship was eerily intact, its cargo untouched, and its sails still set. As the crew of the British brig Dei Grazia approached, a sense of foreboding gripped them. What they didn't know was that the Mary Celeste had encountered something otherworldly, a portal to another dimension. The crew, it seemed, had been sucked into an alternate reality, forever lost to our world. This discovery would turn out to be both their undoing and a key to one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. As the Dei Grazia crew boarded the Mary Celeste, the silence was deafening. The ship was in perfect order, yet it was utterly lifeless. Personal belongings, valuable items, and food stores remained untouched. The ship's logbook showed routine entries up until 10 days before, with no hint of trouble or distress. But the truth was far stranger than any could have imagined. It wasn't a mutiny, piracy, or a natural disaster. The Mary Celeste had crossed the threshold into a different dimension, and its crew had vanished into thin air, leaving behind a vessel frozen in time. The Dei Grazia crew, seasoned sailors with years of experience on the high seas, were immediately struck by the surreal atmosphere aboard the Mary Celeste. As they boarded the seemingly deserted ship, an unearthly stillness enveloped them. The vessel floated serenely on the calm waters, an apparition against the boundless horizon. The silence was punctuated only by the creaking of wood and the gentle lapping of waves against the hull. The crew's belongings, from personal effects to navigational instruments, lay exactly where they should be, undisturbed and eerily normal. Yet, the absence of the crew was palpable, as if they had vanished in an instant. This unsettling scene hinted at something far more sinister than a simple abandonment. When the Dei Grazia crew discovered the logbook of the Mary Celeste in the captain's cabin, their anticipation quickly turned to frustration. The log entries were routine, detailing weather conditions, navigational data, and the daily operations of the ship. Each page documented the monotonous life at sea, with nothing out of the ordinary to hint at the crew's sudden disappearance. However, as they reached the final entry, dated 10 days before the ship's discovery, their intrigue was piqued. This entry ended abruptly, with a cryptic note that mentioned an unusual atmospheric phenomenon. It spoke of strange lights in the sky and an eerie calm that had descended upon the ocean. This was a stark departure from the otherwise mundane entries and hinted at something extraordinary that had occurred. Further investigation of the Mary Celeste revealed even more puzzling clues. Strange markings were discovered on the deck, patterns that defied logical explanation. These markings were not consistent with any known navigational or ship maintenance activities. They appeared almost ritualistic, as if drawn in a trance or under the influence of a powerful, unknown force. The patterns bore no resemblance to anything the Dei Grazia crew had seen before, and they could not attribute them to natural causes or human activity. These mysterious symbols suggested that the crew of the Mary Celeste had encountered an otherworldly force, something that had left its mark both physically on the ship and mentally on those aboard. The presence of these markings fueled speculation that the ship had come into contact with something beyond human understanding. As the evidence mounted, a compelling theory began to take shape among the investigators and the broader maritime community. The cryptic logbook entry and the strange markings on the deck suggested that the Mary Celeste might have stumbled upon a portal to another dimension. This portal, a rift in the fabric of reality, could have sucked the crew into an alternate world, leaving the ship adrift in our own. This explanation, though fantastical, seemed to fit the inexplicable nature of the crew's disappearance. The idea of a dimensional portal offered a narrative that could account for the sudden and complete vanishing of the crew without any signs of struggle or violence. It proposed that the crew had been taken to a place where our known laws of physics and reality did not apply, leaving the Mary Celeste as a ghost ship, a silent witness to an event beyond human comprehension. As the investigation continued, the crew of the Dei Grazia could not shake the feeling that they were being watched by unseen eyes. Their nights were filled with disturbing dreams of strange landscapes and shadowy figures, visions of the dimension the Mary Celeste's crew might now inhabit. These experiences, coupled with the ship's untouched state, strengthened the belief that the crew had crossed into another reality. The idea of alternate dimensions, though fantastical, began to seem plausible. The Mary Celeste had become a vessel of legends, a ship that had traversed not just the oceans but the boundaries of existence itself. The fate of the Mary Celeste and her crew remains one of the most enduring maritime mysteries. Despite the passage of time, no definitive explanation has been found. The theory of a portal to another dimension offers a compelling narrative, blending the natural and the supernatural, the known and the unknown. It reminds us of the vastness of our world and the limitless possibilities beyond our understanding. The Mary Celeste, adrift and abandoned, serves as a haunting symbol of the mysteries that lie beyond our reality, forever captivating our imagination. As we ponder the crew's fate, we are left with more questions than answers, a testament to the enduring enigma of the Mary Celeste. Uncover stories that will haunt your dreams and leave you yearning for more, perfect for those dark, stormy nights. Don't miss out. Grab your copy now at Amazon, link in the description of the video, and embark on a journey of pure terror. Check also this video about the best horror stories I've known. Thank you for joining us on this harrowing journey. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tales of terror. Until next time, stay safe and beware the shadows.